Welcome back to another episode of Poppin' Bottles, a wine show for anyone who loves wine, located right here at the Fox and Bottle in downtown Edmonds. And today we have a banger of a show for you. Brandon, what are we popping?
Barry, because we're coming into spring, I don't think it's ever too early to think about Mother's Day, flowers blooming, sun shining, even though today as we film, it is probably 42 and drizzling. But what is spring without that here in Edmonds? The first one we have today, it's a French Pét-nat. So it's natural, it's ancestral method. So Pét-nat, pétillant naturel. What this is a lightly to medium effervescent, bubbly, sparkling wine. This is 100% Gamay. What I love about Pét-nat is how it differs from Cremant, Champagne, Cava, Prosecco, things like that. This is the OG. This is what sparkling wine, how it started.
Yeah, this is kind of like the prehistoric sparkling wine. Like our kind of caveman ancestors maybe found this like bubbling up in some kind of a... That's always what I think about it too.
Totally.
I was like, oh, this was like, yeah, this is the precursor, the OG. This was like kind of that farmhouse style.
Yeah.
Maybe.
So this is where you get wine going, like a still wine, but you trap it in a bottle before it's really done fermenting. So you capture all that CO2 inside the bottle. Now, the reason that it kind of feels like that caveman style wine is that if you were to just take still wine and cork it and trap, if it's not done fermenting and there's all that little, the sugars and yeast are getting eaten, making alcohol, or you're getting CO2, it's going to create this bubble. So what they do is what they create they make it in its bottle, its final bottle. They put a crown cap on. I want to show you what this looks like because it's vastly different than than the cork you usually see inside of a champagne bottle. This is called a crown cap. And Barry, let me know if I'm in that frame.
Beautiful, you are.
Perfect. Okay, so this is actually a really beautiful bottle. One of my favorites here at the shop. This just came off the boat over from France. We got it here last week. Got more of it. Domaine Lingo Martine. 100% Gamay from Savoie over in France, just south of the Jura, kind of over towards Switzerland. Really nice, cool climate. 100% Gamay, kind of over in that Beaujolais area. But it's bright. It's crisp. It actually has this like fruit on the front and the mid palate that almost thinks, are we getting into the sugars? Are we getting into the sweet wines here? But it finishes dry.
Yeah, when I think about Pét-nats, before I even try them, I have a mixed reaction because I've had some that are really, really weird.
Yeah.
And so I approach them both with a little bit of excitement and then a little bit of anxiety because I'm like, is this going to be cool? Is it going to be good? Is it going to be a little bit weird or funky or different?
Yeah.
But man, this just smells incredible.
It's that, for me, it's like strawberry shortcake. It's got that like almost like you expect this to have whipped cream on it, that strawberries and cream type of idea.
And the coloring is
beautiful. Right?
I mean, this is a spring, summer kind of look to it. Let's try it. I haven't. Wow.
Yeah. I mean, it's right there. It's like, it's bright. It's fruit forward, has this raspberry, ripe strawberry. It's got like a little bit of like creaminess on the mouth and in the palate, The one thing I'll mention too about Pét-nats is because it's all done in bottle and that fermentation, that last bit's happening in the bottle, it's never just scourged. Like, I shouldn't say never. There's always someone doing something different, but most of the time it's never just scourged and then dosaged, which means adding a little bit more yeast and sugar into the bottle like a champagne to give it that second fermentation. This is that single ferment. So a lot of times you'll see floaters. You'll see a little bit of that sediment in there, cloudiness. Oddly enough, this one right here, super clean, super bright, which means it kind of got all that sugar, all that yeast got taken care of, at least most of it. But these are it's just so clean. This is something where, Mom, if you're listening, sorry to give the surprise away, but this is what we're going to have, for Mother's Day. I mean, this is the one that I always think about bringing in for Mother's Day.
Yeah, I think complete and total versatility on this. And another crowd pleaser, we've talked a lot about some of the wines that we feature a lot of times on the show are wines that we're pretty confident you can go anywhere with and use them to win friends and influence people. It's definitely how you can become the star of the party.
Shout out to Zig Ziglar.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. And this falls 100% into that category of a wine that I definitely want to have more of and something that I would bring to anything. I mean, the great start of an evening. I could see this certainly in this, obviously the weather's getting nicer. picnic wine, all kinds of different applications for this, but this will 100% be coming with me onto the deck this
Yeah, for
summer.
sure. I mean, that's the beautiful thing about Pét-nat in general is that they tend to be such easy drinkers, even though some of them can look like, they got a lot of chunky buddies floating around in there. You don't taste it. It's enjoyable. They're usually super crisp, clean, nice, fluffy little bubbles. But they're crowd pleasers. They're just easy.
And sometimes I feel like not that a sour is the right word, but I've had some pet nuts that have a little bit of like almost of that a little
Little tang at the
pang.
end. Yeah.
Yeah, and this has a much more cherry style or a
Yeah.
fruit style
Yeah.
tang that's really,
Yeah.
really pleasant.
And it's wild for me. I usually get that flavor profile with typically bigger grapes, Syrahs, Cabs, things like that have been produced into kind of this style. 100% Gamay, typically light. It's in a really cold climate, so you're gonna get typically this more bright, crisp, citrusy style. But this one has this really deep depth to it, but yet still crisp and clean. And so it's like, I don't know, this one in particular, the reason I brought this on was not only is the label beautiful, label's just a crusher. It's like, I mean, classic French, right? Which is what we love. But it's such a good showcase of what Pét-nat is, what French Pét-nat in particular is, what we're trying to accomplish here in the States. This is exactly what we're looking for. It's a fun one.
Beautiful. Well, thank you for sharing it and bringing it. This is a slam dunk, and we're going to come back in segment 2, and we're going to visit something a little bit different than this.
Very different.
Okay, so stay tuned, and we'll see you on the next segment. Welcome back. We have a delicious and tasty surprise for you here on the second segment. Brendan, what are we popping?
For this one, Barry, we have in the theme of we're hitting spring, full head steam right here. We're going to stay with some really cool wines. We started with that Pét-nat from the Savoie region. It's the far eastern side of France. This one, head back towards the Atlantic. So we're going to go just west of Lyon into the southwest of France. Traditional varietals down there are going to be Cabernet Sauvignon, Merlot, Pét-nat. Those three kind of make up a good chunk of the wine down there. Malbec's a big one down there as well, the Cahors region. This one though, like pretty standard inside of the French wine world. Unless it's for an American label, they just don't really tell you what's in there. So this is going to be most likely a Cab Merlot Pét-nat blend of some sort. However, what I really love about this wine, those are the big varietals, right?
Mm.
Those could be big overpowering Washington wine or even big overpowering French wine. This one's done in the wine world, we kind of call it like a more elegant or feminine style.
Mm.
So it's going to be softer. It's tannin structure, that grippiness that comes in it goes right down the palate. That's softer. It's not going to make your teeth feel like there's wool on it. It has these really beautiful, clean tears. I think a lot of people call them legs. I call them tears. Just kind of fall off the glass. So it's just such an easy wine. And I think once you taste it, you're going to understand why.
All right, let's get into it. Let me give it a first sip. Mm. Mm. Yum.
Light.
So
Easy.
light. So like, but not too light. Not, it's like, but very accessible.
You don't lose the complexity.
Mm-mm.
You still get that fruit. It's got that plum, dark cherry richness that comes with the fruit side of it, but you're not getting those tertiary. When I say tertiary, that's what comes from a barrel. That's what comes from the stems or the skins, all the things that really come out from the not the grape itself, but it's coming from like the external factors. You don't get many of those because you're probably neutral oak on this one, but really just easy to drink.
Super easy to drink. Nice flavor. Reminds me of, a wine along the lines of not as light as a Pinot, but like if you're getting into, say, maybe like a Mourvèdre or something like that, which is just a delightful wine this time of the year. And I always like these kinds of, this kind of body of wine is a great kind of start for the evening for me, or a great kind of something to do in the afternoon or pre-dinner.
Completely.
I love something like this, very accessible.
One of the things I talk a lot about with wine, there's thinkers and drinkers. And I'm not talking about the person doing the drinking. This is what I think about with wine. There's those thinkers so we had Rush Latin on a little bit ago. And Larry, his wines to me are thinkers where like I just want to sit there and noodle on what I'm tasting, the experience I'm having with it, what's going on in that glass. And then there's just drinkers that are just so easy. That you don't lose, in my opinion, like quality or complexity. They're just way more approachable in the sense of like, I can have this as I'm making, dinner. I can have this as my friends are all showing up for a party, and I'm not really like, I'm not thinking too much about anything. It's just like, I just need something in my hand. This is a solid one.
Yeah, I love that call out, especially like if you're having a social gathering, you're doing something, you're out and about, or you're going over to a social gathering. I mean, I think about going to like a Super Bowl party or going over to a birthday thing where there's a bunch of people. I'm not going to bring my Rush Latin to that event. Okay. I am not going to bring it. One, because I'm a greedy wine pig, but number two is because, to your point, it's just not the environment to be able to enjoy that wine. It demands and wants some time for you to hang with it, right? It's like we've talked in the past about dating your wine. That's like a date night kind of wine, like where you're like getting into each other. This is a really like fun, accessible, yummy, not like carrying a lot of that old world. Sometimes, some people are like, well, does it have that earthiness or that
hyper funk?
Yeah, it doesn't have any of that. This is like a really clean one.
Super clean. So when I first tried this, I had my first sip, and there was this element right away where I was like, is that too light on the back? Is that almost like watery, wispy away? And then I let it just kind of sit for a minute. It's like, no, it's there, but it's so light and so clean that I want another sip. Right. So it kind of brings you back to it to not need again to think about it. I think about it because I'm trying to pick wine for our store. But other than that, it's really just this easy bring to your Super Bowl party. It's almost, to me too, if you got a buddy who's a beer drinker, a whiskey drinker, someone who's like, I'm not a wine person, this is actually a pretty easy wine for them to get into, and it shows them the quality of good French wine, and the price is right. I mean, I think we're sitting at about $22 a bottle, something that's not going to break the bank, but is quality. That's what we strive for a lot of times with our wines here.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, this checks the boxes on accessibility, affordability, and also drinkability. This is one that you want to come back to. And one, again, I'm not like a super light wine guy. Like, so Pinots I've struggled with my entire adult wine drinking
Understandable,
life. A good Pinot is delicious.
Yeah.
But a not so great Pinot, I'd just rather walk away from it.
Right.
You know what I mean? Because it's just too light. It carries some flavor profiles I don't love. But this has none of those downsides, but has all of the upsides around accessibility, not being overwhelming. Again, you don't have to worry about food pairing with this or anything. This is just an awesome
drink and enjoy. Well, this gives me an opportunity to kind of plug the way we think about wine at the Fox and Bottle. So as a reminder for those who have been with us along this whole journey, and for anyone who's new to this with us, the way I've always thought about wine, for a long time, in fact, is less about where it's from and the grape that we are looking at, and more about how does it fit on the spectrum of how you're going to experience it. So this wine is probably Cab, Merlot, and Grenache, like we said, or excuse me, not Grenache, Tannat. But it's not going to be all the way to the right on my spectrum of medium plus full body wines that those grapes tend to be. This is going to sit medium minus light plus type of vibe. So when people come into our shop and say, hey, I'm looking for a cab, my next question isn't, well, let's go to the cab section. What kind of cab you like? The next question really is, how are you going to drink this wine? How do you experience it? Are you thinking more, I want something light and fruity. I want something that has just grippy on your teeth. And that's how you experience the wine. Forget about the varietal. Really think about how do you want to experience that wine? And then let us kind of showcase some of those cool varietals, showcase different methods of making wine, styles. What does that mean to your experience? Far less than the actual varietal.
I love it. Well, thank you for introducing this, because I'm always looking for an accessible, delicious French wine, and this is one that you should think about bringing home.
Absolutely.
Now, well, you're in the store next, which hopefully is pretty soon, because we actually have a lot of cool stuff going on. That's a great time to check this out. But what do we have going on? I think we have like an event coming up really soon with one of the wineries that has been featured.
Exactly. The very first, I believe.
I think
first or second. I can't remember. One of the first early ones. Lobo Hills, one of our all-time favorites. I love what they do over there. I can wax poetic about their style and the winemaking. But Lobo Hills will be in here this Thursday, the 16th of April. We also have Wine Walk that night. So we're going to have a Wine Walk, Lobo Hills wine tasting pair off. Look at some really cool art. The artist her name is Lindsay Fox, and Fox and Bottle. works pretty well.
There's a lot of stars
A
aligning.
lot of
This
stars
is gonna
aligning.
be a
So
fun night.
Noble Hills, and they actually have a few varietals that we have not had in before, so it's going to be cool. I think we actually have like a super dry Gewürztraminer coming in on this tasting, which would be really fun, or maybe a Shannon. There's some other fun stuff going on. And then the following week, we have one of our favorite reps who has just absolutely hooked us up over and over again. Katie with Grape Expectations is going to come in and just do what I think we're going to call it's never too early to think about Mother's Day type of vibe. It's been our whole thing this episode, where it's like light, beautiful wines, fun, easy drinking wines, things that mom's gonna love. So it's never too early to think about Mother's Day as a theme, if you will. And I think that we probably have some other stuff coming up too.
Oh man, well, that gives you a lot to look forward to. We'd love to see you in the store. And do we have any hints for these guys on what we're going to be talking about on our next episode?
You know, it's a good question.
It is a good question.
I'm thinking there might be another plug for for one of the things that we had said early on about a twist to the wine club. I think I'm finally coming down to a final answer there.
Okay, that's it. So on the next episode, what you're going to find out is what's going on with this potential add-on to the wine club. I'm pumped. Brandon, as always, appreciate you.
Cheers.
Appreciate you. Cheers.